The countryside has always been seen as a refuge, a place of peace, silence, nature, far from the chaos, noise, and violence of the big cities. But what if I told you that hidden within that peaceful silence, there are secrets so dark, so disturbing, that they make any horror movie look like a harmless joke? Real stories, documented, witnessed by ordinary people, people who either vanished or came back completely broken. Because when the sun goes down, and all you can hear is the wind, the crickets, and the whisper of the trees, you start to realize that maybe, just maybe, you are not alone. Maybe you've never been alone. And after hearing what I'm about to tell you, you'll never trust the silence of the countryside again. It all starts with Sarah, a woman who, exhausted by the insane pace of the city, decides to temporarily move to an isolated cabin, searching for peace, quiet, and maybe to find herself again. But what seemed like the perfect decision turns into a fatal mistake on her second day, when she decides to follow an unknown trail that leads her to something that should have never been found. Deep in the woods, a cabin, but not a normal cabin. An ancient structure decayed by time, with no doors, no windows, no openings at all, as if it had been sealed, as if someone or something had been locked inside, never meant to be released. Driven by curiosity or maybe pure ignorance of the danger, Sarah steps closer, and at that exact moment, everything changes. As night falls, while trying to forget the disturbing image of that sealed cabin, Sarah notices something. The silence is no longer just silence. First, footsteps, slow, dragging, circling her own house. The whispers, voices so faint, they don't even seem to come from outside, but from inside her own head. And then, knocks. 3 sharp knocks, coming from the exact direction, the sealed cabin. As if whatever was trapped was now awake. And it knew. She was there, panicking. She runs to the local farmer's barn, desperate for help, for answers, for anything. But when she opens the door, she realizes she stepped into an even worse nightmare. The walls are covered in claw marks, deep, violent, like something massive had desperately tried to get out. On the floor, strange symbols, hastily drawn, some still stained with something that definitely doesn't look like paint. And then, from the darkest corner of the barn, eyes. 2 glowing eyes today, staring straight at her. A wide, unnatural smile begins to spread. There's no sound, no movement, just the absolute certainty that whatever that thing is, it was waiting. In the suffocating silence, a sharp metallic static cuts through the air. The old kitchen radio, unplugged for years according to the farmer, suddenly comes to life. A distorted, raspy voice breaks through the static, faint, almost inaudible, but crystal clear. You woke it up. Now run. Before Sarah can react, a sound echoes through the house. The front door slowly creaks open by itself, and that wooden creak sounds almost like a muffled scream, as Sarah faces something that should have never been set free, 200 miles away, in another forgotten corner of the countryside. A completely different story unfolds, but somehow they're connected. Michael is a simple farmer, the kind who knows every inch of his land. But for weeks, something strange has been happening. Every morning, barefoot footprints appear, long, human-like, starting from nowhere, always leading away from his cornfields. There are never footprints coming into the fields, only out, as if something was emerging from the ground itself, or from somewhere far worse. Terrified, Michael sets up night vision cameras all around his cornfield. And on the third night, he captures something that was never meant to be seen. At exactly 2:47 a.m., a figure appears. It doesn't walk, it glides. Tall, thin, with arms way too long, moving backwards, as if every step defied human logic. The figure murmurs something, like a prayer, speaking directly to the corn, as if it was talking to the field itself. And for a brief second, it turns its face, but there is no face, just a deep, hollow, empty void. The next morning, the footprints are gone, but something else is there instead. Hands. Straw hands. Perfectly braided, tied to every fence post on the farm. Human hands, pointing, every single one of them, towards one place, Michael's front door, and carved deep into the wood, as if done with claws. A single word. Leave. Michael runs, doesn't look back, and maybe that was his mistake, because even today, while living far away in a different city, he swears that when the wind blows just right, he still hears it, the sound of leaves dragging, whispering, and beneath it, something else, breathing, as if the countryside never really let him go. But none of these stories can compare to what happened on the old dirt road, known by locals as the road that never returns. A couple driving late at night gets lost trying to take a shortcut through the back roads. The GPS fails, the road disappears, and in the middle of nowhere, a house, simple, lit up, looking like the perfect shelter in the middle of the darkness. An elderly lady opens the door, smiling, kind, offering tea, cookies, and a place to rest for the night. But there was something deeply wrong with her eyes, something not exactly human. While the old woman prepares the tea, the wife looks around at the decorations. And then she sees it, a picture, an old faded black and white photo, 3 bodies hanging from trees, faces blurred and scribbled underneath, almost impossible to read. A sentence starts to form. They also accepted the tea. Trying to stay calm, they stand and pretending everything's fine. But that's when they realize the door is gone. No door, no way out, and the sound of the kettle boiling now sounds exactly like a muffled scream. While the old woman prepares the tea, the wife looks around at the decorations. And then she sees it, a picture, an old faded black and white photo, 3 bodies hanging from trees, faces blurred and scribbled underneath, almost impossible to read. A sentence starts to form. They also accepted the tea. Trying to stay calm, they stand and pretending everything's fine. But that's when they realize the door is gone. No door, no way out, and the sound of the kettle boiling now sounds exactly like a muffled scream.